Jefferson Davis, the enigmatic and controversial leader of the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis, the first and only president of the Confederate States of America, remains a figure of intense controversy and fascination. His leadership during the tumultuous years of the American Civil War has left a legacy marked by scandal, heroic narratives, and shocking incidents. This video delves into 10 of the most scandalous, shocking, and interesting facts about Davis, providing a glimpse into the complexities of a man who played a pivotal role in one of the most defining periods in American history. Fact number 1. Advocacy for slavery. Jefferson Davis, born on June 3, 1808, in Christian County, Kentucky, was a fervent advocate for the institution of slavery, which he defended as both economically essential and morally justifiable. In his role as a U.S. Senator from Mississippi before becoming the President of the Confederacy, Davis delivered numerous speeches supporting slavery. One of his most notorious, the African Slave Trade speech, was given in 1860. In this speech, Davis argued that slavery was beneficial for African Americans, providing them with care and civilization, and crucial for the Southern economy. He stated, "This government was not founded by Negroes nor for Negroes," reflecting his belief in white supremacy. These views were widely accepted in the South but were also a catalyst for the rising tensions that eventually led to the Civil War. Number 2. The infamous dress incident. After the defeat of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis tried to escape capture by Union forces. On May 10, 1865, he was apprehended by Union troops near Irwinville, Georgia. Reports and rumors circulated that Davis had disguised himself in women's clothing to avoid detection. Although Davis and his wife Vina insisted that he had only thrown on her raincoat as they fled their camp at dawn, Northern newspapers and caricaturists had a field day with the incident, depicting him in full women's attire. This portrayal not only served to humiliate Davis but also became an enduring part of his legacy, overshadowing many of his other political and military actions. This incident became emblematic of the Confederacy's downfall, adding a layer of personal disgrace to Davis's capture. Number 3. Davis's harsh treatment of prisoners. As the President of the Confederate States during the American Civil War, Jefferson Davis was indirectly responsible for the management and treatment of Union prisoners of war. Conditions in Confederate prison camps, notably Camp Sumter near Andersonville, Georgia, were abhorrent. The camp, operational from February 1864 to April 1865, was designed for 10,000 prisoners but held more than 30,000 at its peak, leading to dire overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, and a lack of food and medical care. The mortality rate was extraordinarily high, with nearly 13,000 of the 45,000 Union soldiers confined there dying from disease, malnutrition, and neglect. Davis, despite not directly overseeing these camps, bore significant blame for these inhumane conditions. His inability or unwillingness to improve the treatment of prisoners tarnished his reputation significantly in the aftermath of the war and has remained a critical aspect of the negative legacy associated with his leadership of the Confederacy. Number 4. Marriage to Vina H. Jefferson Davis married Vina H. on February 26, 1845, when he was 36 and she was just 18. Vina, born into a wealthy family from Natchez, Mississippi, with northern affiliations, found herself in a complex social and political landscape due to her marriage to Davis, who would later become the President of the Confederacy. Despite their age difference and Vina's northern ties, the couple shared a deep intellectual compatibility and mutual respect. However, their marriage was often under stress, notably during Davis's presidency of the Confederacy. The pressures of war, Davis's chronic illnesses, and his demanding personality weighed heavily on their relationship. Nonetheless, Vina proved her mettle, managing their household under war-stricken poverty and serving as an indispensable confidant and secretary to her husband. Their marriage, though scrutinized and criticized by contemporaries from both the North and South, endured these trials, lasting until Jefferson Davis's death in 1889. Number 5. Alleged plan to assassinate Lincoln. The accusation that Jefferson Davis was involved in the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln in April 1865 has been a significant part of his historical narrative. After Lincoln's assassination by John Wilkes Booth, a widespread belief emerged that Davis had sanctioned or was aware of the conspiracy. This speculation was fueled by the discovery of a diary and papers belonging to Booth, which hinted at possible Confederate connections. Although the U.S. government charged Davis in connection with the conspiracy, direct evidence linking him to the assassination plot was never substantiated. Historian William Tidwell, in his book Come Retribution, explores the possibility of Confederate support for Booth, arguing that elements within the Confederate Secret Service might have been aware of or supported Booth's intentions. Despite extensive investigations, definitive proof of Davis's involvement never surfaced, leaving this aspect of his legacy controversial and ambiguous. Number 6. Post-war imprisonment. Following the collapse of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis was captured by Union troops on May 10, 1865, and subsequently imprisoned at Fort Monroe, Virginia. He was held there under severe conditions from 1865 to 1867. During his incarceration, Davis was initially subjected to harsh treatment, including being shackled for several days and placed in solitary confinement. These measures sparked widespread sympathy and led to protests regarding his treatment, even from some Northern citizens who viewed the punitive measures as excessively harsh. His health suffered significantly during this period, raising concerns about his physical capability to stand trial for treason. The debate over his potential trial for treason captured national attention, reflecting the ongoing divisions within the country. Ultimately, the charges against Davis were dropped in 1869, and he was released after 2 years without ever being tried, leaving a complex and controversial legacy regarding his legal and moral responsibility for the Civil War. Number 7. Failed Confederate diplomatic efforts. Jefferson Davis, as President of the Confederacy, faced significant challenges in securing international recognition and support. His administration sent envoys such as James M. Mason to London and John Slidell to Paris in an effort to win support for the Confederate cause. Despite their diplomatic missions throughout the war, European powers remained reluctant to recognize the Confederacy, particularly after the Union's Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which morally repositioned the war as a battle against slavery. This failure in diplomacy isolated the Confederacy, exacerbating its difficulties in sustaining the war against a more industrially advanced North, and is often cited as one of Davis's key failures. Number 8. His role in the Mexican-American War. Before his presidency of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis served as a colonel of the Mississippi Rifles during the Mexican-American War from 1846 to 1848. He was actively involved in key battles, including Monterrey and Buena Vista, where he was noted for his strategic use of the innovative Colt revolving rifles and his bold leadership during critical charges. Although his bravery earned him commendations, his aggressive tactics led to significant casualties, drawing both praise and criticism. This period was formative in developing his leadership style, characterized by bold, often reckless decisions that he carried into the Civil War. Number 9. Feuds with Confederate leaders. Jefferson Davis's tenure as Confederate president was marked by frequent conflicts with other Confederate leaders. He had notable disagreements with Vice President Alexander H. Stephens on issues such as conscription and states' rights, with Stephens advocating for more state autonomy against Davis's push for centralized power. Additionally, Davis's relationships with generals like P.G.T. Beauregard and Joseph E. Johnston were strained, with disagreements over military strategy and command leading to multiple dismissals of Johnston. These internal disputes significantly undermined the cohesion and effectiveness of the Confederate leadership and military efforts. Number 10. Post-war life and legacy. Following his release from Fort Monroe in 1867, Jefferson Davis faced considerable challenges in re-establishing his life. He attempted multiple business ventures that failed and spent his later years in financial distress. In 1870, he settled in Beauvoir, Mississippi, where he wrote The Rise and Fall of the Confederate Government, a work in which he sought to justify the Southern cause in his wartime decisions. While his memoir found some support among former Confederates, it did little to restore his standing on a national scale. Davis remained a controversial figure until his death on December 6, 1889, leaving a legacy that remains contentious, reflective of the deep and enduring divisions from the Civil War.